The story does not begin with a throne. It does not begin with power. It does not begin with a name spoken loudly. It begins quietly. In the hills near Bethlehem, a wide, open place, gentle slopes of land, long stretches of sky that change slowly with the day. Here life moves at a different pace. Sheep graze without hurry. The wind passes through tall grass. Time stretches. This is where we meet David. He is young, still growing, still learning who he is. In his family, he is not the one people look to first. He is not the oldest son. He is not the strongest voice in the room. When important matters arise, others are called forward. David remains behind. He is given the task of tending the sheep, a task that seems small, unnoticed, easy to overlook, yet it fills his days completely. He wakes early, he walks long distances, he stays alert while others rest. The sheep depend on him. They wander easily, they need guidance. David learns how to lead gently, not by force, not by fear. He walks ahead, and they follow. When the sun grows hot, he searches for shade. When water is scarce, he looks carefully for streams. This work teaches him awareness. It teaches him consistency. It teaches him care. There are moments of danger. Wild animals appear without warning. Threats come suddenly. And when they do, David does not abandon his responsibility. He stands his ground. Not out of pride, not out of anger, but because what has been entrusted to him matters. Between these moments, there is long silence, hours where nothing happens, hours where there is no one watching, and it is here, in these quiet stretches of time, that something deeper begins to form. David thinks, he listens, he reflects, he speaks to God openly. There is no script, no ceremony, just honest words spoken into the air. Sometimes he sings, sometimes he waits, sometimes he simply looks upward. In the stillness, his heart becomes familiar with God's presence, not in noise, not in spectacle, but in calm awareness. This season shapes him. Faith grows where no one applauds, trust deepens where no one sees. Before David is ever known by people, he is learning how to be known by God. Before leadership is placed in his hands, faithfulness already lives in his character. Nothing about this moment feels extraordinary. And yet, this is where everything begins. Because greatness in this story does not start in public, it starts in quiet obedience, in unseen faithfulness. In a life shaped slowly, away from attention, the fields of Bethlehem do not look important, but they are. This is the ground where a future king is prepared. Pause, let the stillness settle. A young shepherd, a quiet place, a God who sees, far from the fields, in a different part of the land. A moment of change is already forming. Israel has a king, but the kingdom is unsettled. Leadership exists, yet peace does not fully rest on it. God speaks quietly to the prophet Samuel, not with noise, not with urgency, but with clear direction. Samuel is told to go to Bethlehem, to the house of Jesse. There among his sons, God has chosen a king. Samuel obeys. When he arrives, the household is stirred. This is no ordinary visit. A prophet does not come without reason. Jesse gathers his sons. The older ones step forward first. They look the part, strong, confident, impressive to the eye. Samuel watches carefully. At first it seems obvious. Surely the choice must be one of these. But God gently corrects his thinking. Not with rebuke, not with sharpness, but with clarity. God does not look at outward appearance, he looks deeper. One by one, the sons pass before Samuel. Each time, the answer is the same. Not this one. Eventually, there are no sons left standing. Samuel pauses. Something is missing. He asks Jesse a simple question. Are these all your sons? Jesse hesitates. There is one more, the youngest. But he is not here. He is out in the fields, watching the sheep. Samuel waits. He does not rush. He does not move on. The moment will not continue without him. So David is called in, still marked by the outdoors, still carrying the quiet of the fields with him. He does not arrive with confidence. He does not arrive expecting anything. He is simply present. And in that moment, God speaks clearly, "This is the one." Samuel takes the oil, and there among his family, David is anointed. There is no crown, no announcement to the nation, no sudden change in position, only oil and a quiet recognition. From that day forward, God's presence rests with David in a deeper way. Yet nothing around him changes immediately. No one bows, no one follows. After the moment passes, David returns to the fields, back to the sheep. Back to quiet days, back to unseen faithfulness. The calling has been given, but the time has not yet come. And David waits. He carries the knowledge quietly. He does not demand fulfillment. He does not push ahead. What was planted in stillness will grow in time. Pause. A calling received, a life unchanged on the surface, a future unfolding slowly. David returns to the fields. Nothing about his daily life looks different. The same paths, the same sheep, the same long hours beneath the sky. The anointing does not remove him from obscurity, it deepens it. He carries a promise that no one else can see, and he keeps working. Each day, responsibility still comes first. He watches carefully. He leads patiently. He stays alert. There is no rush to become more than he is. In this quiet space, David continues to grow. When danger appears, it is sudden. A wild animal breaks the calm. The flock scatters. David responds without panic. He does not think of escape. He thinks of protection. He steps forward. Strength meets necessity. Courage meets responsibility. Not because he seeks recognition, but because what he guards matters. And when the threat passes, there is no celebration, only silence. These moments are not shared. They are not remembered by anyone else, but they shape him. Confidence forms quietly. Trust deepens through action. David learns that fear does not have to control him. That calm decision can exist even in danger. Between these moments, there is stillness, time for reflection, time for prayer. David's conversations with God continue, unfiltered, honest, personal. He speaks without pretense. He listens without demand. This relationship grows naturally, not driven by obligation, but by closeness. The fields remain his classroom. Leadership is practiced in small ways. Faith is tested in quiet ones. No one is watching. No one is rewarding the effort. Yet this is where strength becomes steady. Not loud, not aggressive, but grounded. David is becoming someone who can act without losing peace, someone who can stand firm without needing attention. The promise remains, unspoken, unrushed. Time moves forward slowly, and David continues to wait, pause. A future forming beneath ordinary days, strength shaped where no one sees. In the palace, things are not at peace. King Saul still sits on the throne. The kingdom still stands, but something has shifted. Saul's heart is restless. Calm no longer comes easily to him. At times, a deep unease settles over his spirit. His thoughts grow heavy. His mind becomes troubled. Those around him notice. They look for a gentle solution. Not force, not argument. Something calming, something that can bring relief. Someone suggests music, a skilled musician, someone whose playing can soothe a restless heart. The search begins. David's name is spoken quietly, not as a warrior, not as a leader, as a shepherd who plays skillfully. David is called in from the fields again. He leaves the place of quiet obedience and steps into something new. He stands before the king. There is no fear in him, no ambition in his posture, only humility and readiness to serve. When David plays, the atmosphere changes. The music is gentle, steady, unforced. It does not demand attention. It invites rest. Saul's spirit eases. The tension softens. In these moments, David becomes something unexpected, a servant in the royal court, close to power, yet not consumed by it. He moves between two worlds, the stillness of the fields and the weight of the palace. Still, he remains the same. He does not speak too much, he does not push forward. He listens, he serves. The role is quiet, temporary, without promises, but it matters. David learns how to stand near authority without losing himself, how to bring peace without control, how to serve faithfully without recognition. And when his task is done, he does not stay unnecessarily. He returns again to the fields, back to the sheep, back to ordinary life. The story continues to unfold slowly. Pause. A troubled king, a calm servant, peace offered without demand. Life in the kingdom grows more complicated. The Philistines gather, their army moving with purpose and strength. The people of Israel are anxious. They see a giant named Goliath. Standing taller than anyone else, he speaks with boldness and challenge each day. He steps forward to taunt the armies of Israel. He calls for a fight. He demands someone meet him in combat. For 40 days, no one steps forward. Fear lingers. Doubt grows. And then David arrives. Not as a soldier, not as a warrior, not as a man of reputation. He comes with food for his brothers, and he carries the calm he has learned in the fields. He listens to the words of Goliath. He does not mock. He does not panic. Instead, he asks questions quietly. He wonders aloud, how can someone so strong be defeated? David's faith is steady. It has been nurtured in silence, in responsibility, in long hours of reflection and prayer. He remembers the lions and bears of the past. He remembers how God had protected him then. He trusts that God will continue to be present now. He speaks to King Saul. I will fight this Philistine, he says. Not with pride, not with bravado, but with certainty rooted in faith. Saul doubts, the soldiers doubt, even David's own brothers hesitate, but David does not waver. He chooses not the sword of a soldier, not the armor of a man trained for war. He chooses a sling and a few smooth stones. Simple tools, tools he has used faithfully before, tools he knows well. He approaches Goliath. The giant is confident. David is calm. He does not speak harsh words. He does not shout. He relies on trust. And then, with a single stone, the course of the battle changes. Goliath falls. The army of Israel is lifted. Hope returns slowly, quietly to the people. David does not boast. He does not claim glory. He returns to where he belongs, back to humble service, back to God's guidance. Pause. A life shaped in quiet obedience shows its strength in public moments. Not because of ambition, but because preparation and faith have been steady. David's victories are celebrated, songs are sung, people rejoice. Even the women of the city sing of triumph. But not everyone is at peace. King Saul hears the praise. His heart, once troubled, now turns uneasy. Jealousy grows quietly, like shadows stretching at sunset. Saul remembers David, the young shepherd, the musician, the warrior who defeated Goliath. He sees the love of the people. He hears the songs. He feels the admiration and respect. David has earned without seeking it, and a fear takes root, a fear that grows with each passing day. Saul's spirit becomes restless again. He begins to watch David closely. He begins to plan, not openly, not with immediate action, but with patience, with quiet plotting. And David senses it. He notices subtle changes. The tension in the palace, the wary eyes, the careful words. Yet he does not act rashly. He does not confront. He does not seek vengeance. Instead, he continues faithfully. He plays for the king. He serves in the palace. He keeps himself ready. Yet he remains humble. Even when danger comes closer. David avoids confrontation. He moves with care. He steps lightly like a man walking along a narrow path. The people around him notice. They see a young man who is strong, yet gentle, brave, yet patient. And in his patience, David grows in wisdom. He learns restraint. He learns timing. He learns trust in God's plan. There are moments when escape is necessary. Moments when Saul's jealousy becomes active. David leaves the palace. He moves into the wilderness. He becomes a fugitive, yet not a reckless one. He survives by wisdom. by courage, and by careful thought. Even in exile, he does not curse. He does not strike out blindly. He maintains integrity. He maintains faith. The wilderness becomes his classroom. The rocks and hills, the hidden paths, the caves and rivers all shape him further. David learns leadership in silence. He learns protection not only for sheep but for people. He learns patience. Beyond what victory or power can teach, he trusts God to guide the right moment. He does not rush. He does not rebel. Every day, he grows closer to the man he is meant to be. Pause. A young man in hiding, yet unshaken. Faithfulness preserved, even when recognition is delayed. David moves deeper into the wilderness. The land is rugged. The paths are narrow. Caves and cliffs offer both shelter and challenge. Here, away from cities and kings, he learns the rhythm of survival. Not in haste, not in pride, but in quiet attentiveness. Men begin to hear of him. Stories travel slowly, of the shepherd who faced Goliath, of the young man who serves a king yet escapes danger. They come to him, not as soldiers of a king, not as followers seeking fame, but as men in need of guidance, of protection, of someone who moves with wisdom and calm authority. David does not seek them. He does not call them for glory. He receives them patiently. He listens. He observes. He understands their strengths and weaknesses. In the wilderness, leadership is different. It is not about ceremony. It is not about displays of power. It is about care, about planning, about choosing the right moment to act. David forms a small band of loyal men. Some are outcasts. Some are weary soldiers. Some are simply men seeking purpose. Together they learn to move quietly, to live simply, to rely on one another, to trust in God's guidance above all. David teaches without harshness. He leads without arrogance. He corrects with patience. Each day in the wilderness is a lesson, in survival, in judgment, in mercy. Here, David's character grows stronger. His faith deepens, his understanding of people expands, his sense of justice and humility takes root. Even in solitude, he maintains prayer and reflection. Even in danger, he acts with integrity. And so the wilderness shapes him, not through comfort, but through discipline, not through recognition, but through quiet responsibility. The people who follow him begin to trust him fully, not because he commands them, but because he embodies what is right. And David continues to wait, to act only when the right moment comes, to trust in God's timing, rather than his own desire for advancement. Pause. A leader forming quietly, a heart faithful in the wilderness, a man growing toward his destiny. David's reputation grows. He is no longer just a young shepherd. He is a man known for courage, wisdom, and careful judgment. Yet even as his influence increases, he remains measured. He does not seize what is not his. He does not strike out against Saul. Even when the opportunity arises, there are moments when Saul pursues him openly. He searches the hills, the caves, the valleys, and each time, David has the chance to retaliate, to take the life of the man who fears him. But he chooses differently. He spares Saul. Not out of fear, not out of weakness, but out of respect, out of faith. He recognizes that the Lord's plan is greater than his own timing. He understands that patience is part of strength, that mercy can be a form of power. Even his companions are surprised. They wonder why he does not act, why he does not secure the throne for himself. David remains steady. He continues to lead quietly, to protect those who follow him, and to live with integrity, even in uncertainty. During these years, he learns more about people, about loyalty, about envy, about hope, and he learns about himself. His heart is tested, his patience refined, his faith strengthened. In these quiet acts of restraint, David grows in ways that victory alone cannot teach. He develops wisdom that will guide him as king. He builds character that will endure beyond fame or fear. And through it all, he keeps returning to prayer, to reflection, to the quiet guidance of God's presence. Pause. Mercy is not weakness, patience is not inaction, and the heart that waits faithfully is prepared for what comes next. The years of waiting finally bring change. Saul is gone, the kingdom mourns, the people are uncertain. David is called, not as a conqueror, not as a man who has demanded power, but as a leader chosen by God. He begins in Judah, the southern tribes, a land familiar, yet filled with the responsibility of new leadership. David moves carefully. He does not rush to take more than what is given. He listens to his people. He seeks justice quietly. He rules with thoughtfulness. Even as a king, he remembers the fields of Bethlehem. He remembers the lessons learned in silence, the patience, the integrity, the faith that had carried him through danger and doubt. The northern tribes take longer to recognize him. There are negotiations and careful movements. David does not act out of impatience. He waits. He builds trust. He brings people together with wisdom, not force. Through this process, he begins to unify the nation, to bring peace where division once ruled, and his heart remains grounded. He rules with the memory of the small shepherd he once was, the one who tended sheep with care, the one who trusted in God even when unseen. In this new chapter, David's leadership is tested not by battles alone, but by the responsibility of guiding a people, by decisions that shape lives, by moments where fairness, patience, and faith intersect, and through it all, he continues to reflect, he prays, he listens. Even kings must remain humble. Even rulers must remember their beginnings. Pause. A shepherd becomes a king, yet the heart of a shepherd remains. Faithfulness continues to guide, wisdom shapes action, and God's presence remains the constant anchor. David's influence extends beyond Judah. The northern tribes accept his leadership. The nation of Israel begins to unite under one king. He does not seize power with force. He does not seek personal glory. He moves with steady purpose. Guided by wisdom and faith, once fully established as king, David turns his attention to the people. He strengthens the cities. He brings stability where unrest had lingered. He organizes governance not through fear, but through justice and measured authority. Even as king, David remembers the lessons of the wilderness, the patience of the fields, the faith cultivated in silence, the mercy shown to Saul. He leads not by the weight of the crown alone, but by the steadiness of his character. Peace is not immediate, challenges arise. Border conflicts, rival tribes, and internal disputes test his reign. Yet David approaches them with discernment. He chooses action over rashness. He seeks counsel, but ultimately trusts in God's guidance. Through these years, David's reputation grows, not for wealth, not for displays of power, but for fairness, courage, and the depth of his heart. He establishes Jerusalem as the capital. He brings the Ark of the Covenant to the city, a symbol of God's presence among the people. This act is not merely political, it is spiritual, a reminder that leadership is rooted in service, not dominance. The nation begins to flourish. Neighbors respect Israel. Within the land, there is relative calm. The people look to their king with trust. David, however, does not rest entirely. He continues to reflect. He continues to pray. He continues to seek God's guidance in every decision, small and large. Pause. A shepherd once unseen now guides a nation. Yet the humility of the past remains. The faithfulness of youth still shapes every choice, and the story continues. As the life of David unfolds with victories, challenges, and lessons that reach far beyond his own time. Even a king's life is not without difficulty. David faces challenges within his own family. The joys of children are paired with trials of loyalty, ambition, and conflict. His sons grow, each with their own character and desires. Some follow his example. Some struggle with patience and respect. David learns that leadership is not only about battles or cities. It is about guidance, discipline, and understanding within his own household. Mistakes happen. Choices must be weighed carefully. Consequences are often long-lasting. Yet David continues to act with integrity. He admits when he is wrong. He seeks reconciliation. He teaches through example, not by harsh punishment. Through these trials, he learns more about human nature, about forgiveness, about the strength required to balance authority with mercy. The kingdom also faces external challenges. Conflicts with neighboring nations arise. David's strategies are not solely military. They are thoughtful, measured, and often guided by diplomacy. Still, he never loses sight of the spiritual foundation of his rule. He seeks guidance from God in all matters. He acknowledges that wisdom, courage, and faith are interwoven. Through it all, David writes songs and prayers, leaving reflections on life, faith, and the human heart. These expressions become timeless lessons, echoing the depth of a man shaped by both struggle and devotion. Pause. Even a king must remain a servant of God. Even a ruler must nurture humility. And even in triumph, faithfulness is the measure of true greatness. Time passes. David grows older. The energy of youth gives way to measured reflection. The weight of a nation rests lightly, yet persistently on his shoulders. He looks back on a life that began in quiet fields, a life that began with a shepherd caring for sheep, and now extends over a united kingdom. He sees victories and defeats, moments of courage, moments of mercy, moments of patient waiting. David prepares for the future. He ensures that the next generation is guided well. He speaks to Solomon, his son, offering wisdom not just for rule but for life, to lead with humility, to seek justice, and to remain faithful to God. Even as his strength wanes, David remains steady in character. His faith is unshaken, his heart remains devoted. He reflects on lessons learned, that courage grows in quiet moments, that mercy is stronger than revenge, that patience is a companion to faith, that leadership is best exercised with care, integrity, and thoughtfulness. David's songs, his prayers, his reflections are left as a testament, not of power alone, but of a life lived faithfully, a life shaped by stillness, by reflection, and by unwavering trust in God. And when his time finally comes to pass, he leaves behind more than a kingdom. He leaves behind example. He leaves behind wisdom. He leaves behind a story that continues to inspire. Across generations, across nations. Pause. A shepherd once unseen, a servant faithful in small and great tasks, a king guided by integrity. This is the life of David. From fields to throne, from quiet beginnings to lasting legacy, faithfulness at every step, and trust that shaped not only a nation, but the story itself.